Alright troops, how he's doing? I just thought I'd come on and do a video because I've got the house to myself. My wee boy's away to his pals and he's got a McDonald's with his gran later. So um, I thought I'd just kinda get another one on. I'm no long out the bath to be honest. I've just been doing housework today, my dishes and my surfaces, all that kind of stuff. I hadn't really planned on making a video, to be fair, but I thought I would just do one now that I'm here myself and I can collect my thoughts and all that kind of stuff. And the video I wanted to talk about today was bullying and the young offenders, or bullying in general, how it all links and all this kind of stuff. But before I get into that, I had a good wee day yesterday at my club. There was a guy uh, who travelled all the way from Michigan in America to do a seminar at the class. The guy's like a fourth degree black belt in jiu-jitsu, man, and I'm not, if I'm being honest, right, the guy looked mid to late 50s and he was built like a Greek statue, man. And I was like, wow, this guy's just eating, breathing, and shitting jiu-jitsu. Um, Pretty admirable, if I'm honest. But some of the moves, the things that they were showing us, I'm not gonna lie, I was struggling to kind of get it because it's like a six sequence technique. It's not just like a punch, a kick, and a block. It's because it's no striking, obviously, but it's like put him in a headlock, twist his arm up this way, put your leg over his head, do a backflip. No, really, right? But it's like that, right? And when it comes to these kind of things, I wouldn't call myself a fast learner. I've only been going to this class a year, but you've got to crawl before you can walk. You know what I mean? And as I said to them when I started, I'm not down here trying to fucking live out a mad cage fighting fantasy or um, do you know what I mean? 'Cause I don't even watch UFC or anything like that. I think I've seen enough cage fighting in my day, you know what I mean? No the UFC cages, but SPS ones. But I'm just trying to learn as well as the fitness aspect, but I'm only trying to learn things, if I'm being brutally honest, that would save me for somebody who was like me back in the day. And what I mean by that is, like, say you're walking home one night for your work, or you're out with your missus at a restaurant and you're fucking, it's late, you have to walk home, and there's a group of people and they accost you. Now, they tell you the first thing to do is run, and that would be the ideal thing to do. But if you're with your missus, you're with your kid, then you can't run, um, because you need to defend what's yours. You know what I mean? So basically, my kind of philosophy going here is, I'm just here trying to learn things that could save my life, no trying to like show off or like look at me and all that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? Because I think even people, if somebody was going to this place to be like that, then to me that would be a red flag. But I don't see anybody in this gym like that, and that's one of the appealing aspects of this place. A lot of kind of quirky personalities, if I'm honest, but I think that's what makes it somewhere where I would fit in because I'm quirky myself. He'd for useless knowledge. Well, depending on who you ask. But it was a great day, if I'm honest. And like sometimes there'll be days where I pick it up, and there's some days where I struggle to pick it up. And as I say, it's because it could be like a six sequence move, if you get me. Like do this, do that, and then you do this, do that, do that. And they'll show you like four times, but I'm I'm still kind of like what. But I think sometimes it's meant to do with my body shape, if you get me as well, because there could be moves that's more suited to a guy with my frame, like quite stocky, heavy, whatever, as opposed to somebody that's just agile and bendy as fuck. Like, you know what I mean, your Spider-Man types. They can climb walls and swing for chandeliers like Zorro. But yesterday I think was one of the kind of moves for me anyway. But aye, it was brilliant. But I love it. You're just you're just you in it, like you're just a blank slate. You're no Chris the ex-con, Chris the guy done this and that or whatever. Nobody cares, and I love that. And very very unassuming people there. But it was a great day. So cracking on. Um, when I done that video in Polmont the other day, and it made me think. So for those of you maybe watching this that don't know what Polmont is, it's Scotland's largest young offenders institution. So if you commit a crime between the ages of 16 and 21 years old, you will be sent here if you're given prison time. Very, very rough place when I was there. I first went there in 1998, and the last time I was there was February 2002. So just when they were about to demolish it and rebuild it. I'd left before they rebuilt it. But I don't imagine it's any different in the context of the temperament, mentality, and the demographics, the people that were there when I was there. And when I made that Polmont video, like, some people were making comments and it was reminding me of stuff. And I was like, fuck's sake. And I'd seen and participated in incidents in this place that people would call bullying or could be interpreted as bullying. And as I says, it also made me think when I was on Sean Toll's Social Session podcast about a month ago or something, maybe something like that, why do people bully? But bullying's not exclusive to prisons. Bullying happens schools, workplace, in the home. And I remember like being bullied at school and all that, and I'm sure that most people in this day and age can remember being bullied or incidences of being bullied, some worse than others. But when I thought about also the fact that there's been a few suicides in Polmont in maybe the last few years, 5 years, something like that, maybe longer. I had a sneaking suspicion. The way I know these places is, to me, like, I would put a bet on that a lot of these, if not all of them, are probably linked to bullying. And that is tragic, that somebody in a prison who's potentially getting out in 6 months, a year, and they take their own life because they just felt overwhelmed with fear and anxiety or depression, mental health, that they felt desperate enough to carry out that act. And as I've just stated, like, I can remember, like, being in Polmont and seeing things happen to people and all that stuff, right? Seeing people being bullied in adults, but nowhere near the level of Polmont, nowhere, not even close. And I think I'd stated in my Polmont video how there was a boy bullying a guy who sat at my dinner table, and one day sitting in the telly room, and the wee guy was getting bullied, bashed the boy's head in with a fucking soak with heavy blunt objects in it, so pool balls, whatever it was. Um, and it made me think, what social or external factors have to align for people to bully other people in prison? And I'm sure Sean Toll had said that on that podcast, but the funny thing is, this is a bit of a segue, right? Since I've got out of prison, I've hardly touched an academic book. No, so I've still got all my textbooks, right? Funnily enough. And since I went on Sean Toll's podcast, I started reading my psychology textbooks again, right? Because it's just been all criminology. I kind of went right off psychology for some reason, and just went right into the criminology. And the funny thing is, one of the textbooks that I opened, the first chapter was on human behaviour in a crowd as opposed to human behaviour in the individual. And one of the examples they gave was a process, and it was known as de-individuation. Now, I'm going to break that down because I don't really like talking like that on my channel because I think it might alienate people, and I don't really want to do that because at the end of the day, I'm just like a lot of people that watch this. Like, even though I'm book smart, like, I don't speak like I'm book smart, even though I got a degree in prison. And de-individuation was basically how somebody might ordinarily be a good person or act normally when they're on their own. But the minute a crowd forms, you start to see a shift in behaviour, and the behaviour regresses. And the thinking is that the reason for that is because it's almost like anonymity of the crowd, and the fact that there's so many people acting a certain way, everybody can feed off each other, but no assume as much responsibility as akin to doing it on their own. If you get that. And that made me think of prison because a lot of the time I've seen things where people in a group would be a lot more emboldened to carry out an act, like say a sit down protest, like refusing to go to work, refusing to move out the dining hall, refusing to move out the visits, whatever, as opposed to one person trying to do that. Because if one person tried to do a sit down protest, refused to move out a visit, what would happen? Just, like, you would just get like fucking 8 screws would just walk in and just drag him out. But if there's a large group of prisoners, the screws are most likely want to resolve that peacefully. Because one thing I can tell you is if there's a situation like that in prison, I can assure you that's not going to end well if the prison staff decide to go at it for any other means other than diplomatic. I mean, like, if they try and all it takes is for one of them to like, but like it's almost like a Mexican standoff. You imagine there's like 3 of your pals and 4 of their pals, or there's 8 screws and 10 cons, but somebody's got a wet. What it takes is for one itchy trigger finger, and that whole there could be carnage, right? And I've been in a couple of situations where I remember one prison I was in, and there was a very, very influential prisoner in this wing, right? And there had been a sit-down protest organised, right? Where everybody went out to exercise, and refused to leave the exercise yard, and I can't exactly remember what the why we were doing this, but the thing is, I feel that even though there was a lot of us in this yard and there was a lot of screws came out in the yard to kind of try and manage it, and they'd looked us out in the yard and all this and tried to talk to us, I feel that we were even more emboldened by the fact there was a very, very influential prisoner sitting there. But the thing is, this wasn't even anything to do with him. He was just participating like the rest of us. But I remember no so long before this, there was one boy who went out in the yard on his own and refused to come in. This boy wasn't a dafty by any stretch. And they sent down the three biggest screws in the jail, locked him out in the yard, his cell, and then the three biggest screws in one of them was, I think they were into like martial arts or whatever. And that just shows you, like, to me, that I felt like that was for intimidatory purposes, do you know what I mean? But getting kind of topic, the reason I was want to show you that is because, like, the how prisons are about safety and numbers. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like that's how sometimes, like, what you would see in Polmont was, say for talking sake, a group of inmates who would kind of be looked at as maybe the more influential ones, the ones that are maybe deferred to or looked up to a wee bit, and like seeing them just doing mad shit. Like, I remember one time after I had moved for the under 18s hall in 1999, before it was West Wing, right? So it used to be Rannoch Hall. These halls aren't even there anymore, but it used to be this hall. It was called Carrick Wing at first, then they changed it to Rannoch, and that's when I was there. There was only like 40 cells or something in here, and as I've said, it was a kind of mixture of prisoners. You would have guys that were just fae places like Parkhead, Postle, Pollock, Arden, wherever. But then you would just have guys. You would have guys who were there because they probably wouldn't last too long in, like, North Wing, Alicali, whatever. And I think I explained in the last video how there was a guy who they brought in that hall who was in doing 6 years for fracturing his niece's pelvis. He kicked her out a loft, right? See, like a loft space, booted her out it. Or booted her down the ladder, whatever it was. She fractured her pelvis. Him and his brother were torturing his brother's daughter, his niece, right? And it was for the East Coast somewhere, Fife, Edinburgh, somewhere like that. And I think I said in our video, he just looked naughty, and I can't even remember how we found out. I think it was through the papers, because back then, like, know how you have the Digger newspaper? Well, that's not even allowed to get sent in anymore. But this was, I think, before, it wasn't in the Digger we seen it, it was like somebody who'd sent it to somebody for like the local newspaper. And it was classed as like torture what he'd done to this lassie. So as I said, like, maybe about 5 years, went in his cell and just took turns just punching him about. This Peter, and like, I remember my pal, his nickname was Fonzie, right? He was just him and his co-accused were just Fonzie and Elvis, their names were. They were sound, some laugh. He was rolling up this FHM magazine and scudding fuck at him with it. Like, you used to see in Rab C. Nesbitt when he'd batter wee Burnley with the rolled up daily record. It was, but if I'm being honest, there'll be people who would class that as bullying, and to be fair, like, if I'm being objective about it, probably aye. But to me, if I'm being brutally honest, um, it was in the name of a good cause. And there might be people who are like maybe never been in prison before, never had a parking ticket, never took a paracetamol for a headache. And they'll be like, but who made you judge, jury and executioner? Nobody. But as I always say, like, sometimes there's things that just can't be, I don't know, man, do you know what I mean? Like, it's not, it's not like I'm doing shit to somebody who, I wasn't doing it for the fun of it, you know what I mean? I just will never understand, I will never be able to empathise with somebody or sympathise with somebody who can hurt a child in any way, shape or form. Do you know what I mean? And aye, that could be classed as bullying, but um, just depends on what your view is and how you see it. But um, and I remember seeing these two guys. So when I'd went like round Rannoch Hall, East Wing, then West Wing, but it was always via the digger, right? It's always something happening, man. And when I remember in West Wing, um, these two boys arguing or something, and one of them, they were the same size, same height, all that shit. One was for Dundee. The kind of, he seemed a bit, no timid, but just seemed a bit kind of, I don't know, something a bit like, bit, no sneaky, but a bit antsy about him. He just seemed on edge all the time. And I can't mind what they were arguing about. They had an argument and the boy for Glasgow went in and punched that boy for Dundee about his cell, battled him in his cell, right? So we all went to breakfast, and before in West Wing, before you went to breakfast, they would take everybody to assemble in the recreation room, and then we'd just all walk right through all the corridors to the dining hall, like single file, all that shit. And then on the way back to the hall, you would have to wait in the dining room before they would call whatever section you were in. A section, then all the A section boys would all go to their cells, all that shit. So when we came back for breakfast, um, I've just heard a boy screaming, but it wasn't like in pain, it was like, you fucking bastard! And I've turned around and he had the back of his head was peeling off, like all down here. And see the boy who he'd battered, he'd put a full flask of boiling hot water and sugar and just dunked it over his head. And the boy actually chased after him, and the boy for Dundee ran and dove right through a screw's legs like fucking, I don't know, know what I mean? Didn't even stand and fight him. So you're seeing these kind of things happen, especially in Polmont when I was there. Like this type of bullying, this type of behaviour wasn't out of the ordinary, and it made me think of something else. That when Sean, I don't know if any's watched the podcast with me and Sean told, but what he said was a lot of the violence in prison is fear driven. And the funny thing is, I don't think I really grasped what Sean was meaning when he said that. But when I'm looking back on all these violent incidents in prison, I think I'm getting it. And I think a lot of this mentality, which can also apply to like the young teams now, and the young teams when I was a wee boy as well, is fear driven. It's like, he's carrying a blade so I might as well carry one, or he's already stabbed so and so and now he's saying he wants to fight with me, and what if he's got a blade? I might as well just get one and do him first. Boy might not even have a weapon on him. He might just be thinking I'm smashing you on sight. Do you know what I mean? So there's all these kind of second guessing, double bluffing, mind games and fuck knows what. And it's really, really, I think making things worse. And there's all these kind of, say, power dynamics, because what is prison? It's all about the kind of, the maintenance of power in it, because you get power for the system, which is keeping you there, telling you when you can go to bed, when you can get up, when you can go to a visit, when you can phone your parents, and that's just the system. But then there's this kind of hidden power dynamic where, say, I fight with whatever scheme it is, right, and I have the misfortune to get put in, say, Polmont, right, and I get put in a hall, and there's like 5 boys for the one scheme I fight with, but there's just me. That's a serious power dynamic, that, innit? Because not only are you locked in you can't run anywhere. So there's only so many options that you've got, right? One of them is obviously ask for protection, which just fuck that. The other one is strike first, make a weapon, especially if you're outnumbered like that. And this is what I think we're meaning when we're saying fear-driven behaviour. Do you get what I mean? And what kind of environment is that to try and turn people away from crime, where they're putting you in a place that's magnifying the behaviour and the mentality that led you going to prison in the first place? It's a bit strange, isn't it? Honest to G's, man. Just, and to be fair, like, I don't ever remember anybody no wait, I was going to say there, I don't ever remember MD killing herself when I was in Polmont, but I do remember one person making an attempt in the segregation unit, but I think it was a kind of cry for help, because there was guys doing the seg that didn't like him at all, man, and he get moved out of there that day, I think. But suicides are it's just a horrible thing, innit? Especially when it's somebody that's gone to prison for, say, 6 months. What was I saying? Aye, you're coming home, like, but they feel there's maybe things going on in there, like, and that's fear driven. Maybe that was fear driven, like, they just felt they were that scared out of their mind that they didn't want to be here anymore, you know what I mean? It's fucking, I couldn't imagine going through that. But there's got to be something that, I don't know, they can do that's gonna I don't know, try and make it a better environment. Obviously I've not been inside it for a very long time. It's not even the same prison anymore. As I said, it's been demolished and rebuilt since I was there, so it's technically a new prison, same as like Shorts. But the prison system in general has just seen a crazy shift for everybody just live and let live to everybody seems to just be war with theirself and everybody else. I'm not saying everybody, right, but it seems to be more common now, which I think is what's most frightening about it. I've been out 5 year. I was going to say only 5 year there, but I say only 5 year because of how long I've done and the fact that I've never been out longer than a year and a half since age of 15, but only had 2 sentences, but done all the sentences basically, you know what I mean? And I blame a lot of it down to the types of drugs that are going into prison now. It's just frying people's brains. I don't know what the young offenders is like for things like that, but when you're at that stage of your life where you're coming into manhood and all that, and all about ego and self identity and all that shit's not going to help. Know what I mean? Powder keg material, man. You know what I mean? And I don't know what their anti-bullying strategy's like, but I remember one time me and a couple of boys in that Rannoch call got put on rules for talking at the cell window at night. Now, that doesn't know what a rule is. It means basically removed from circulation with the rest of the prisoners. So it's like being grounded. So they can date you in the hall, in the block, whatever, the wing you're on, or they can put you in the digger. Do you know what I mean? Which I think that was a bit extreme because we were just talking about like football and war stories as you do, all that shit, and ended up ruled up for it. You know what I mean? Which was just making me hate them even more. Still mind games, and there's bullying for staff as well. Trust me, man. It's no just prisoner on prisoner. There'll be incidences of staff members as well. Probably staff on staff. You never know. Do you know what I mean? But it makes me so thankful that I'm not in prison and able to sit and live my life now. Because sometimes I would question whether I was ever going to see daylight again, even though I was getting out. Do you know what I mean? But remember one time I know this boy came into Nevis Hall, right? And somebody shit in his kettle, right? And switched the kettle on, walked to his cell and left the door wide open. And like we all knew he'd done it, but nobody cared. You know what I mean? And this is what I'm saying, like, see like now if you seen somebody doing that, you'd like fucking get a grip. Do you know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't be egging them on or clapping or laughing, or you'd just be like, mate, so what is it about being in there as opposed to me being on my own? Obviously I'm fucking a grown man now, I'm mature, but like if you were doing shit like that to people in the adult jail, like Shots or Low Moss, um, you wouldn't last too long before somebody would be sneaking up on you when you were in the shower or in your bed, know what I mean, with a spike. um, Crazy shit. But hope you liked that anyway. It just when it was bringing up memories, man. So we used to send letters to this radio station. Somebody had mentioned this. The Love Machine it was called, right? And it was a free post. And we used to write letters like for shout outs, and we would say things like so like say for talking sake, Joe Blogs, a prisoner, and then we'd give a male screw's name. So say it was like Chris McPherson and Joe Blogs, you go, Chris McPherson says, I love you, Joe Blogs, and da 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 da, and everybody be sitting listening to this. I think it was a Saturday or Sunday night they used to play it. And because we all had radios then, it wasn't tellies, and everybody'd just be howling, kicking their doors and banging the windows when they heard it, and I thought it was funny, like, but apparently the staff, they cottoned onto it after a while, and another bullying rule, know what I mean? But fucking petty as fuck, that. See the point if it's violence and all that, but no shit like that, know what I mean? Well, we were just doing it for a laugh, but it's all about control a lot of the time as well, innit? This is a power dynamic as well. It's like micromanaging every wee aspect of your life, know what I mean? But I think the 5-0 ayahuasca documentary thing's on the night, so I'm going to try and catch that. Fuck taking that. Some doors should be left closed, innit? Especially in my subconscious. Like what? I don't know if any have read about that ayahuasca, but oh, I don't know, just took 3 acid and shots, that was bad enough. But I'm going to head, so yous all take care, and thank you for watching and listening, and I will see you next time I'm on. Have a good night.